Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Box 2. Here it is, Box 2 of the Paul Paray edition on Australian eloquence. Now, if you saw the video on Box 1, I'm not going to repeat the business about sometimes short playing times and, disentangling what were otherwise very economical couplings on Mercury Living Presence. I'm just mentioning that so you know that I've had a point of view about that. But this is another beautifully produced box with different notes from Box 1. I mean, they do such a good job with these things, Australian eloquence. They really do. This one has 22 CDs, and it continues with the period 1958 to 1962, when Mercury and Paray really got hopping with the Detroit Symphony in their stereo recordings. So let me get these out here. Oh, are these in the booklet? Can I do it that way again? I can. Yes, I will. There, I don't have to take them all out. They are original jacket productions, which is lovely, of course. And oh, this is so much fun. This guy was such a character. Are you ready? So let's just get started with it. Let me get to disc 1. Here we go. Mendelssohn, A Midsummer Night's Dream Overture, one of the fabulous Midsummer Night's Dream overtures, because it's, I think, the fastest, 10 minutes and 50 seconds. I think it out Toscanini's Toscanini. It's quite marvelous, exciting as hell, and gossamer and light and elfin and magical. And then, 3 bits of incidental music, the scherzo, the nocturne, and the wedding march, of course, and the Reformation Symphony, which is beautifully done. So this is a wonderful Mendelssohn record, and I enjoy it immensely. And it's a 53-minute long CD. Yay! Next, oh yes, Florent Schmidt, The Tragedy of Salome. And then, let's see, Salome, the Salome, The Dance of the Seven Veils, and Edward Lalo's Namuna, his ballet, Suite Number 1. Now, if you don't know Namuna, that's it. If you don't know Namuna, you really should, because it's like Lalo's best piece of music. It really is really good, colorful ballet music, just a lovely work. And this suite is just fun. It's got the fête foraine and all kinds of other fun stuff in it. It's delicious, absolutely delicious. The performance of The Tragedy of Salome by Florent Schmidt was nice to have in the day, but it really was superseded by a couple, by Antonio de Almeida's original one that was on RCA, which has never been out on CD, and that's ridiculous. It should be. And most of all by the Jean Martinon one on Warner. Those are better performances, and they're better recorded. This was done in, 58, I guess. Yeah, 58. Not terrible, but it's a little boxy, and it lacks a little amplitude and sheer punch, and surprisingly. But, not everything the guy did was fabulous. It's fun to have it. I'm happy to have it. And it's better than some of the other ones that have come out since, but it's not one of the better ones, so let's not kid ourselves. Okay, fine. But the Strauss is nice and sexy, of course, and also quick. She's twitchy and sexy, which is really what Salome is, isn't she? You don't want her to be languid. She's not languid. She's neurotic. So there. Disc 3. Oh, this is one of the great ones. Overture Française. French overtures. Berlioz, Roman Carnival. Lalo, Le Roi Dix. Bizet, Patrie. And Berlioz's The Corsair. Oh, yeah. Oh, these are wonderful performances. There are only 4 of them? See, because they were originally coupled to other things back in the day. And so it's 38 minutes and 52 seconds. Yeah, 4 lovely overtures. Next, Schumann, Symphony Number 1, and Manfred. Now, Schumann, as I pointed out before, was Paray's proudest achievement in Detroit, and it's understandably so. These are fabulously exciting performances, wonderfully played, amazingly transparent, and swift and exciting and romantic and fresh as the dawn. They're wonderful, all of them. And 4 was in the first box, and 1, 3, and 4, I think, are in this one, or maybe 3 was in the other one. I don't know, but they're here. They're all here together. Then we've got the Bouquet de Paray. Oh, this is fun. The William Tell Overture, the Danse Macabre by Saint-Saëns, Weber's introduction to the dance in Berlioz's orchestration, and the Mephisto Waltz Number 1. Paray was absolutely one of the great light music conductors. That is light music. In other words, he treated light music like genius, great heavy music. Not that the performances were heavy, they never were, but the musical substance is profound, magnificent. He didn't ever slum around with light music. He played it with exactly the same precision and care and love that he gave great music. And so they made great recordings of light music. And that's one of them. Then we've got the Sibelius Second. I love the Sibelius Second because it's really fast. I mean, it's incredibly fast. First movement, 8 minutes, 37 seconds. Yay! Finale, 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Yay! It's just wonderfully, wonderfully exciting. And again, fresh and just, you listen to these performances, and some of today's performances, they just sound so sluggish, so dull, so uninflected, so lacking in point and accent and character. Then you put on this, and the whole thing just springs to life. It's just wonderful. So CD7, Beethoven Symphonies 1 and 2. Those were not released before. Now, I love his 6th and 7th, which are in the previous box in mono. These are in stereo, and he was great at this repertoire, especially of a more classicizing type, which these two symphonies are, and you really should hear them. You'll be amazingly surprised at just how timeless these interpretations are. You could say they sound almost period instrument-y before the period instrument days because they're swift and they're really sharp-edged. But on the other hand, they're romantic, they're warm, the slow movements sing. They're just everything the music should be. It's wonderful. Wonderful stuff. Then we have Vive la Marche, a disc of marches. The Damnation of Faust, March Hongrois, the Funeral March of a Marionette by Gounod. Saint-Saëns, March Héroïque. Haven't heard that in a while, have you? The Marseillaise, of course. Chabrier's Joyeuse Marche. And Saint-Saëns' Suite Algérienne, the Marche Militaire Française. That's fun. Oh, and Berlioz, the Trojan March. And, the Meyerbeer Coronation March from the Prophet. It's a lot of marches. It's plenty of marches. It's enough for like the rest of your march life. They're all French marches, and they're lovely. They have a good high step. Like French marches have a good high kick. They don't drag, not a bit. It's lovely. And then we've got the Chabrier disc. One of the great discs of anything ever made. I have no hesitation in saying you get Espagne, the amazing Espagne, Suite Pastorale, Le Roi Malgré Lui, Gwendoline, and the Le Roi Malgré Lui, the Fête Polonaise and the Danse Slave from Le Roi Malgré Lui. There you go. This is just a great, great record. I've talked about it separately. It's the Chabrier disc to have. If you're having only one, it's just marvelous. Mahler said, and I've said this before, but it's worth repeating, Mahler called Espagne the birth of modern orchestration. And he played it all over the place. He loved Espagne. And you understand why. Because every instrument is treated melodically and significantly. The harp gets a solo. The bassoons get a solo. The trombones get solo. The percussion is incredibly sensitive and musically necessary. It's not just a coloristic addition. It's an integral part of the substance, the sonic substance of the work. I mean, the treatment of the suspended cymbals alone is you could write a textbook about. So I understand very clearly why Mahler loved Espagne and what he learned from it too. And you can hear all of those things in this wonderful performance because it's that clear. It's great. So Chabrier is disc 9, and that's such a great record. Disc 10, Debussy and Ravel. We have the Prelude to L'après-midi d'une faune. Again, so beautiful, but so not soggy. He gets through it in 8 minutes and 24 seconds. Stokowski takes more than 11. Now, I love both, of course. I mean, Stokowski is Stokowski, and Paray is Paray. He's non-Paray, don't you think? It's just wonderful. I just love the fluidity that he gets to this music. Then Ravel, the Valse Noble et Sentimentale, and Le Tombeau de Couperin, and Debussy's Petite Suite. Lovely disc. And then we've got a bunch of Offenbach goodies. La Belle Hélène Overture, Orpheus in the Underworld Overture, the suite from the Tales of Hoffmann, which is just 5 minutes of something or other, principally the Barcarolle, I think. And then we've got Aubert, Le Cheval de Bronze, the bronze horse, Fra Diavolo, and Masaniello. Masaniello, by the way, is the same opera that is otherwise known as La Muette de Portici, the mute girl from Portici, which is the greatest grand opera ever written about a mute person. She doesn't sing, she's mute. But it has a fabulous ending because, she's about to be sacrificed in a volcano. She's in Vesuvius, and Vesuvius erupts and everybody gets killed. It's one of those volcano eruption finale things. It's just marvelous. It really is. And then we've got, Wagner. Anything by Wagner you got to hear. I talked about Wagner extensively in box 1, but this is all the stereo Wagner, or some of it anyway. There was two discs of it in the previous box, and I think there are 2 here. Paray was such a great Wagner conductor. I say it again, it's just thrilling, it's exciting, it's theatrical. It's not an excuse to philosophize. He just goes straight for the jugular. And it opens with the Flying Dutchman Overture, which is the most exciting Flying Dutchman overture you're ever going to hear. It's phenomenal. And then you've got the Meistersinger Suite, which is the introduction to Act 2, the Dance of the Apprentices and the Procession of the Masters, and Wotan's Farewell and Magic Fire Music from Die Walküre, and the Rienzi Overture. This is just fabulous stuff. Fabulous. Then we have more French overtures. Herold's Zampa, Aubert, the Crown of Diamonds, Ambroise Thomas, Mignon, and Raymond. I don't know Raymond, do you? The overture's lovely. Raymond, I've never met Raymond. And then Boieldieu, La Dame Blanche. Oh, that's such a pretty overture. And Adolphe Adam, Si j'étais roi, If I Were King. And that's that. Then disc 11 is the Berlioz Symphony Fantastique, another one of the great ones. I talked about his Berlioz. Symphony Fantastique he does with great excitement, and it never bogs down. It's such a thrill to hear a performance where it just keeps going and moving from one hallucinatory episode to the next, and the finale has all the feverishness that like Charles Munch brought to it. Really, it's even quicker, actually. Munch may be a little bit more hard-hitting in terms of like accent and sheer emotional punishment than this version, but it's a great performance of the Fantastique, and it's so wonderful to hear it played like a piece of really thrilling, exciting, romantic music, rather than as a sort of orchestration treatise or something else. I don't know, something else. It's a great performance. Then we've got Dvorak's New World Symphony, a really fast New World Symphony that used to be coupled to the Sibelius 2, but now it's decoupled. Again, it's the same virtues as the Sibelius, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. Just quick, fun, and enjoyable. I wish he'd taken the exposition repeat in the first movement, because it's only 7 minutes and 52 seconds here, the way he does it, and it could really use an exposition repeat, but that's okay. Once it gets hopping, it's just amazing. And then we have Suppe, the Suppe overtures, which are thrilling. They're absolutely thrilling. You get Die schöne Galatea, Pique Dame, Light Cavalry, Poet and Peasant, and Ein Morgen, Morning, Noon, and Evening in Vienna, and Boccaccio. This is another one of it's the best Suppe record probably anybody ever did. One of them. There are a couple other good ones, but yeah, it's just marvelous. Disc 17, the Debussy Nocturnes. And let's see, Maurice Ravel, Daphnis and Chloe Suite number 2. And then the Franck, that's 17. Just, two lovely performances of lovely works. I'm not complaining. You may have your own favorites. These aren't mine, but they're totally of a piece with his approach. The Franck Symphony in D minor. This is the second recording of it, because he did it twice, and they're both extremely fine and so not sticky. This piece can really become very gluey and kind of thick and mucilaginous. That's the word, mucilaginous. It's like mucilage. That's like a French word, isn't it? Mucilage? Well, it doesn't matter. It derives from it. And we do not want the music to be mucilaginous. We want it to be dark and intense, but rhythmic and clean and French, and it is. So that's lovely. Then we've got Ravel, Rhapsody Espagnole, the Alborada del Gracioso, Pavan for a Dead Princess, La Valse. He does a great La Valse, a really exciting La Valse. And Iber's Escale. Now, these are remakes. He did those before. They're just as marvelous then and now, only sounding better. CD20, ballet highlights from French opera. Gounod, Faust, ballet music. Sanson, the Bacchanal from Samson and Delilah. Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. Ya-da-da-da-dum-ba, da-da-da-da-dum-ba, da-da-da-da-da. It's more fun than anyone has any right to have. The Danse Bohème from Carmen's Second Suite. And Berlioz, the Royal Hunt and Storm from Les Troyens, the tone poem. And the Phèdre Overture. Wait a minute. The Overture to Phèdre. And Mignon by Ambrose Thomas. So there you go. Oh, the Gavotte from Act 2. Pardon me. So there we are. And there's Wilma Cozart Fine at her control board. She didn't age a bit from when I knew her. Oh, what a lovely, lovely person she was, and a brilliant producer. And then Disc 21. Well, this is rather amusing. Disc 21 is, hang on a moment, is called, here we go, Naked Carmen. Well, what is Naked Carmen? It's a rock opera by John Corigliano, no less. He plays the synthesizer in this performance. And the rest of it's written by John Corigliano and David Hess, and it's adapted from Carmen. And the adaptation is the Carmen suite that Paray recorded, and it's incorporated into this sort of like opera thing. And you may want to listen to it or you may not. I am not talking anymore about it. Finally, and last but not least, there is his DG recording, the single recording he made after he went back to France of the Ravel piano concertos with Monique Haas and the Orchestre Nationale de France, which is obviously not Mercury Living Presence. It was originally on Deutsche Grammophon, but because Universal is one thing now, they could license it and stick it in here for the sake of completeness, because that was the last recording that he made. And what a splendid collection this is, along with the other box. Yeah, you'll be spending some money. And as I said before, if you have the cubes, then you will have everything that's in here except the Beethoven 1 and 2, Naked Carmen, and the Ravel Piano Concerti, which were released as DG originals, I think. They were available on DG. Otherwise, you have everything. So if you already have it, you don't need this. If you don't have it, then by all means, feel free to get this. It's really that simple. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.